Hi, I'm going to do a video to share a testimony video I had, and I think it would summarize everything that we could share so far, and it's with the benefit of what I want to get out of my challenge and what I started getting as benefits immediately. When I started with the cold showers, I knew that with the video I had sent to you, I had shared to you something. Um, I knew it's supposed to help you with your immune system. I know there's a lot of benefits. It helps you restore yourself. There's technologies that uses hot and cold therapy already, so it's not something that's super strange to me. But I felt the best when the next day um, I had to. I was taking a shower and someone I don't know somewhere touched the hot water. It went cold and it didn't bother me at all. Imagine every single time you ever have to take your shower and you're afraid, oh no, who flushed the toilet? Or like, that never ever happened to me. I could, like, number one, I didn't want to take it personally, but it's like a personal type of pain. It's like, like, how can you not take it personally? Well, just be positive. It's like, getting stabbed in the heart. And like, just be positive, positivity. It's like, I'm getting stabbed in the heart. So I'm telling you, well, that energy comes out when you have to go take a shower. It comes out. And you could be like, oh, wow, I needed you to back me up, like as if you're two people holding up a wall. And now it becomes easier and you could push it back. And when you push it back, you've just pushed back your fragility. That's a symbol of you had to like basically overcome the fact that this symbol is not something bad to you after all. Now you're going to it every day. But I got my benefits within like a few days. Like I got the main one. The immediate one that you get instantly, that doesn't take like a few days, but that definitely works, is the fact that you could activate a very high level of concentration. Like you could activate at will yourself to be very alert. Like when someone takes a coffee, like what they would expect. This, you just did it naturally. It's like you got your body to like hold hands with you and be like, okay, we're gonna activate ourselves. Okay, let's do it. Like you can't stay pissed off because you feel so immediately like a hero. You feel like a champion. That I think that's a 3-for-1 thing in it. That you can activate yourself. You feel like a real champion because you really did it. And really, like I said, this anti fragility that comes with the fact that you know what? There's a certain range of things that won't bother me anymore. And that's what I'm happy about. There's less things you do that could bother you, and it could last up to maximum like a minute. Like I saw things where people go for longer. Well, for this benefit, for the mental benefit, it does not need to last more than 1 minute. I'll tell you that. It's just the fact that it doesn't bother you anymore. Like it's like, oh, I have to go take a cold shower. It's like, okay, but the thing is, yes, of course you still need to bring up your heat enough first, and then you could go for it, and it does get better faster. Like I can't believe like how much I was dancing today, and not being as cool as usual, but you still have to do the work. It's still something. It's like manual driving. First gear is tough. You don't get it right all the time, right? But you get that instant like gratification, like yes, like I got it. When you get it, like imagine every time your car goes from a complete stop to a start, it's like yes, because you did something that's difficult for real, and it took a lot of like listening and sensing and coordination, and like it's a lot, and getting over your nerves and being smooth but yet being direct. It's like that's manual driving, but then that's just getting going. That's just one gear. Imagine the rest. But it's basically, God, I'm mad at that. No, it is what it is. And I'm like, this is the whole point about, I think what makes us unable to have the health that we want is that we do not have the system or the consciousness to override the conditioning that we have to be fragile under certain circumstances. And we haven't realized the maturity yet that, no, that's how I sharpen my nails. I have to do some form of like bring myself to some point of like discomfort, but for like a very worthwhile goal. But the discomfort doesn't mean that I'm in pain. The discomfort doesn't mean that I'm hurting myself to any degree. The discomfort is actually shielding myself of any possible problem. Just like when Muay Thai fighters or some will practice to take like some roller that you would roll pastry with, and they roll their shins with it, like their legs, like, and like, they're like rubbing it, and it's like it creates like this crust where they can't feel pain there anymore. Well, I think it's good when you could feel pain, but it doesn't bother you. I think being able to put up with discomfort is better in a way, and being reinforced. But I wouldn't want to so not be able to feel that my hand is burning on a stove that I don't think that would be a beneficial adaptation to not feeling pain, right? It's just that, I could feel pain, I could feel to which degree I'm feeling pain that's not gonna hurt me. To the degree it's hurting me, there's no reason for me to keep monitoring this pain. It's like, get out, right? And I think it's the same thing that we'll be able to have also with the discomfort that we have in a social setting, meaning that you won't have to avoid that social setting like, you need to live to see another day in as many scenarios in life, meaning there's more scenarios that you could go through in life where you could be honestly well and find a way of yourself of benefiting and sharpening itself into being more a complete person, where before you would need to like go away because it overwhelms you. So it's like your ability to be to avoid being overwhelmed by things that get under your skin. You made it your personal business to manage the things that get under your skin. You actually have a training for it, and that's what I'm trying to do in my training. With the group I started in the morning, is what are things that I need to remind myself and do physically that make me have a mental and physical edge and robustness, and I could be gentle and firm at the same time, and I like that. And I think that's what you need in life. You need that balance. You need to learn how to balance that hot and cold water. But sometimes you could choose to go into ice cold to reinforce yourself and to have your immune system like reach a whole other level of comfort in discomfort, right? And it's like that thanks you, and that's what you're doing in your fast also. It's another one of those beneficial things where it's like it makes you anti-fragile. Your cells, they're forced to become so much better at producing energy. So someone that says, I'm tired all the time, maybe your cells are not that good at producing energy. They're like little whims that we would tease at school type of thing. It's like, hey, come on. It's like they're still a reflection of you. They're the momentum of what you're doing. We're just telling you that they're at that level right now. And that's why some people don't like evaluations. And that's why sometimes when you have a regular conversation with someone, they think that they're being evaluated by you. And you didn't even say anything. You could say, hey, look at my new coat. And like, it's like, oh my goodness, well, why do I have a new coat? That means the type of coats that we usually wear since we're childhoods are not good enough for them. Oh, well, what? I'm not good. Well, you want to fight? Like, there's little childish stuff like that belong to us that we've never concerned. No one has supervised us about it. And I say that's what's dangerous as a parent, is when there are things that there's no one that you have allowed to have the authority to supervise what you're actually doing. And then you are multiplying certain principles that have never really worked, that have not been verified. And that's why it's like we've heard in the past that unverified life is not worth living. And I'm trying to say, well, it's not that. It's like when you compare the amount of misery that you have when you choose to like not look at things, which becomes a habit, which becomes another thing I have to share to you, then your life is completely different. So much that, hey, you know what? I rather pay attention to my life. And this is an amazing thing I got to share. I was telling someone the other day that I caught myself repressing information. I was going through something in my day. I know it's irrelevant to share exactly what it was. And I felt myself like taking information. Like I could see myself in my mind, like someone taking this cart and trying to be like, all right, well, let's shove this down the building. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Whoa, wait. And I realized, wait a minute. If I'm trying to shove something down the building, down that hole, there's something that bothered me. So I'm like, hey, wait a minute. What just happened? You see, what just happened? It's like I woke up to something. When you repress something, you're unconscious. Obviously, I can't motivate you. Well, just do your best. It won't work, do your best, because you're unconscious while it's happening. So because I'm so comfortable going to the unconscious, I could see this, and I'm like, wait a minute. I could do something here now. I have the power to not just watch myself powerlessly repeat a cycle that I hate the consequence of. I took that, I went back, and I'd be like, oh, so that's what made me uncomfortable. Interesting. Because I tried to repress it, now I didn't have to repress it. And I could benefit from it in an amazing way, like I've learned to do when I have my head on my shoulders. You relax, you look at the information, and you see, how can I salvage? How can I recycle something beautiful out of this? Take care, everyone. Until next time, what will you do? Will you be this type of person or the other? Oh, want me to explain to them? Sure. Then last story. Well, there's a story of my neighbor. I had letters that uh, ended up being at my house, but they belonged to their daughter. I'm like, oh no, like I need to give them back that right away. It's a book. It's so cool. I'm like, and I don't know if I shared this already. And I'm like, I chose to make myself in a good mood and be naive to the fact that, wow, like I have something in common with a daughter. And not be in the opposite angle of, oh my goodness, that the male person was not able to put it at the right house, and now I have to get out of my house and do it, and it's cold. I'm like, because I could see that happening. At the opposite, I was seeing myself overriding the natural DNA of my social conditioning that would allow me to do such a thing, and that would be an applauded behavior. So I could see myself acting away from that. Then I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, like I made myself dumb like a fox. Like foxes are not dumb. And when I brought the letter to our house, I knew I was barefoot, and it was not the warmest day, and there's ice everywhere, there's snow everywhere, and I was walking in snow, standing in snow, when I crossed my neighbor. I had already estimated that that could happen. I already estimated I might have to spend about that much time barefoot in the snow, and I didn't mind. That's why I didn't mind. I could estimate it. That's why you gotta be honest with people, because mature people will be like, that's fine with me. An immature person, like, you have to hide it from them, and then it's like, oh, you hid it from me, but you couldn't handle it. And it's true, they couldn't handle it. Anyways, let's stay with my story. So they just, oh, thank you for the letters. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, it is for my daughter. It's like, yeah, it is a book she was waiting for. She's waiting for it. It's coming from France. I'm like, yeah, it's true. I like books too. I'm still making myself happy with this. And he's like, oh my goodness. You're barefoot. What is that? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm supposed to be upset here? What's going on? What do you mean? I'm in a good mood. Why are you ruining this moment? What's up? What's going on? What happened? Is there something behind you? She's like, no, your bare feet. You must be suffering like mother love. She's like, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And this woman is like one of the most like Rambo women I've seen in my life. It's like, are you kidding me? She's like obviously a man and a woman at the same time, right? And oh my goodness. I told her, it's like, you seem to forget we're Quebecers. She's like, what do you mean? We have pain for breakfast. Quebecers have pain for breakfast. She's like, what do you mean? It's like, don't you get the word game also? Pain? Du pain? Du pain means bread. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, but you could have bread for breakfast, but what about if I kept that written the same way? It would be like pain for breakfast. So Quebecers have pain for breakfast depending how you want to see it, right? Meaning some of them, they choose to complain about regular stuff of life in an Italian way, like like so many Italians in the speak, and you have to say like, no, it's adesso, and it's like whoa, wow, they're almost offended. It's like there's a beauty in their expression, right? And having to say it, it's like, well, Quebecers are that way too about complaining about regular things about it's snowing, and have the special words to describe the levels to which degree they're upset, right? And it's beautiful to watch, but have you ever like been outside for like a week and see it just normal in winter, right? So it's just kind of funny that when you look at it that way. But it's just choosing how to equip yourself. Of I could choose to not complain about this. That's the other type of Quebecer. And then they become like that guy that did Cirque du Soleil. That's like in just every country that ever existed, it could produce its shows, right? And it's like he was able to like go in space type of thing, right? It's like you either waste your energy complaining about things that bend you out of shape, or you take that energy and you live the life in a way where you could be unbothered by it. And when you have something important to do, you're happy that you were exposed by such things, because now you notice that nothing could actually bother you. Or you could choose spending your energy on really, really allowing yourself to be troubled by this. Or you could develop yourself to be untroubled by things. And your mind could stay focused in its most relaxed, highest performance mentally, relaxed in the heart, your emotions, your feelings, right? Relax in the dexterity in the way you're going to pronounce and express yourself without any tension in the body. Do you know how high of a feeling it must be for the human system to not have tension in any of its operations when nothing is actually troubled while dealing with something troubled? That is the definition of equanimity. The good news is that at the exact moment where you would be troubled and rubbed the wrong way, that is the exact thing that triggers your ability to start sharpening equanimity, because it's only when you are troubled that you can evaluate to which degree that you could even out your emotions. I mean that when you're upset, your anger is like saying, oh my goodness, with ego. Your ego and your anger is like, how dare they say this to us? They're just second class. We're like fifth class. How can they do this to us? Oh, it must be because of their cousin Shirley. Huh, those people. Yeah, you can't expect too much from them, right? It's like you're trying to make yourself feel higher than someone else type of thing. Like your ego, you're trying to give yourself like this bigger grandeur than it that could possibly be imagined in any other person's mind than you, meaning no one else could imagine this but you, but everyone does it in their own way. So that's why they can understand it, but people don't have the energy to think that much about you. It's more like, how are they going to get found out or not? So let's get back to my topic, being unbothered. And when you develop that, you develop the equanimity of making sure that not the more there's something critical and the more you're not troubled by it, the more we're going to realize that you have equanimity. The more you have a muscle, a consistent, reliable way of responding to a situation that's critical. Paramedics, when they need to go save someone, they have equanimity. They have no choice, because the worse the situation is, the more they evaluate it by being competent, by how calm they are at reassuring the person that's in a critical situation. They have to have equanimity, or else they can't do the job. What if a surgeon did not have equanimity? He's like, it's blood. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Like how that lady was looking at me. Like, would you want to get operated by someone that looks at the situation that way? So as a professional, there's things that can't bother you in your day. So that's what I'm trying to say, that there's a social wellness of equanimity that has to become mandatory to our health, social and mental. Meaning there's something that we need to be able to do to be able to certify at least individuals that, been in a consensual way trained to not be bothered under a certain level of stress and take care of their health. Take care of their exercise. Take care of the time they need to have to introspect. It's there on a regular basis. There's certain problems that you don't have when you have certain habits. And I'm trying to say that the one about the cold shower, to come back to it, the why someone would go fasting is because everything in your body becomes easier to do afterwards. It's just easier to deal with life afterwards. It's like you don't struggle with things anymore. It's like there's nothing to complain about. So if you would do those things, there wouldn't be anything to complain about, because those things actually trigger some form of like excitement into you now. Because you only have a positive effect of when you're calm in a critical situation. Like, you could only look good in public when everyone's panicking and you're the person that's the most comfortable with the situation. That's like the only way you get a promotion in life. And that's how you become memorable as well. How well you were able to compose yourself when there was a real thing that destabilized people. See, you're a paramedic for people. You were there, but you're a paramedic in their self-esteem, their worth, that someone like you has their back, and that they could aspire to be like someone like you too. That's why the habits that you do on every detail really matter, because that's what's going to separate someone that aspires to be something great and someone that awakens to it and does something about it and knows where to put all their weight, knows where to put all the thing that they aspire into, but they want to do it beautifully in life. My biggest wish is that we can notice that, hey, you know what? You are beautiful at being. You're just beautiful at being, not at doing, not what trying to say, not just appearance. Wow, at being, it's everything. It's what clothes you, what surrounds you, what comes off of you, what we could sense, smell, touch from you, right? What we could feel. Your being itself, your façon d'être, your way of pronouncing words, that aura of discipline, of how you've carved yourself over the years. Beautiful. Take care, everyone.